Hello, and welcome to Amateur Philosophers Play Games. I'm Noah, your host.
I'm Justin, the gamer again.
Finally, the gamer. And this is the show where we play video games and discuss philosophical ideas, problems, and philosophize about random topics. As a disclaimer, as always, neither of us are professionals. We're just two dudes on the internet who like talking about this stuff. So, dear audience, as you can see, we're finally back with Justin playing Breath of the Wild. He's in the pause screen at the moment, but yeah. We got some software we needed. Not software. Hardware. Mediumware. I don't know. But Breath of the Wild is
medium
back.
well. It's medium wellware.
Yeah. Breath of the Wild is back and better than ever. Maybe. Justin's gameplay.
Don't lie to them now.
Okay, well, about the same as ever. Let's be real here. But hey, Justin's out exploring. And we are here to talk about philosophy. So, Justin, this is an interesting topic. I don't know if it's strictly philosophy, but you have to philosophize to talk about it, so I think it counts.
We do philosophical concept and ideas. Like, it's not just like, we're not strictly philosophy.
We're not strictly about nihilism and ethics, although we do talk about nihilism and ethics a lot.
I wonder how long it'll take us to get to ethics, this route.
The timer starts now.
Okay.
So the question I wanted to ask this week, and hopefully we can discuss, is humanity as a whole, or individual societies, but I think humanity as a whole, improving or getting better or evolving or something like that over time? Like, is humanity, our people, as a whole, better than they were 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 years ago? We don't really have written records that go much past 4-ish thousand years ago, so we'll say
which is a very small percentage of
it
human
is very
experience.
small. Like, really, that's not that long, but that's what we have. So I think for the purpose of our discussion today, we'll treat the beginning of recorded history as the beginning of what we can talk about, because we don't have recordings of before recorded history, funnily enough.
Yeah, I know.
So yeah, but you get the question. People like to think, everything's getting better, or they like to think everything's getting worse, one or the other. But are people getting better? No, I'd say, before we start this topic, I think it's fair to say technology has improved. There's no doubt about that. If we had showed Breath of the Wild to Plato, well, I don't think he would probably scold us for wasting time once he finally figured out what technology was.
Yes, probably. He would be very upset with us.
But, so yeah, there's no doubt technology has improved, and we've learned more about science, we've learned more about the world. I'd say we've even learned more about the softer science, more about philosophy, the simulation of time. Maybe you could...
Well, like, I think I mentioned before, we haven't had a big breakthrough in philosophy in way longer than a lot of us would care to admit. It's been a good hot minute since we've had any real breakthrough in philosophy. It's just kind of been...
You might want to heal before you die.
Yeah, I forgot how to heal. I forgot how to do lots of stuff. It's been a minute.
It has. It's been a little while since Breath of the Wild, but, this game is like riding a bike. You tend to, when you fall over, it's hilarious for everyone watching.
Okay, well, yeah, that's fair. Okay, so let's see. Oh, that gives me a boost. I don't want a boost, though. Well, let's eat an omelet.
Yum.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I started a new game and to get caught back up. So I learned how to actually make food and not just waste resources.
Yes. In the intervening, however long it's been, like a month or so since
our Hunter x Hunter hiatus that we've been on.
Oh, don't remind me. Yeah. Justin's played the game a little bit off screen, for fun, I think you said. But
yes, yeah.
We've improved. But at the same time, so if Justin has improved at the game, has humanity improved at humanness?
Humaning?
I suppose. Yeah, you know what? Let's start with that. What would it really mean for humanity to improve? That's kind of a vague, broad category.
Okay, so I don't want to get into ethics, but getting into it's kind of a subjective perspective kind of thing. Like, well, what does it mean to get better? I mean, we could look at it from the perspective of like, you and I are both Christians, so from a Christian perspective, are we being better? Are we getting closer to God, or every day do we stray further from the grace of God? And personally, I think we I don't know. I've seen some very interesting things that humans have come up with, and I don't know how I feel about how close we are to God.
Well, let's start with the easy one. I think we can say biologically, and biologically, humans really haven't changed much in the past 4,000 years. Like, I'm not a scientist, so don't quote me on this, but I'm fairly certain you could go back 4,000 years and humans would still biologically, like, you could reproduce. A human from today could reproduce with a human from the past.
Not only that, I actually have seen lots of videos of people talking about this, and it's not just that, like, you could reproduce. Like, intellectually, it's not like we're way smarter than people were for, like, 5,000 years ago. Like, they're not stupid. They just didn't have... nobody thought of stuff that we think of.
Yeah, they didn't have the knowledge we did. But theoretically, again, you could take a random person from ancient Greece, bring them to the modern world, and theoretically, after enough education and practice, that person would fit into the modern world just fine. So, yeah, I think we can say biologically humans haven't changed much in the past, over recorded history, let's say.
Yes.
So, but that's not really what we're here. We're not amateur biologists play games, although that would be a fun podcast.
That would be
interesting. But no, that's not what we're here for.
Whole different kinds of games.
Yes. I think it is a more interesting question. Let's think about art. Has art strictly improved over time? Now, art style has changed, no doubt. If you look at modern art versus art from the 1800s versus art from 3000 BC, it's changed a lot. But humans have always made art. And can we say art has gotten better?
Have you seen the cave drawings that are in France? I would say yes, art has gotten better.
Okay, so from a technical perspective, art has improved? We could say?
But actually, I guess the question is, has art gotten better, or has the technology just improved to allow for art to be better?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I don't know, actually, now I think about it. If you gave a caveman paintings that we have, or like the painting abilities that we have now, would they have better... Would they be able to actually paint decently?
Yeah. And honestly, it's kind of hard to say, even, maybe not caveman, but let's say, the philosophers. We talked about ancient Greece. They had a very specific style of art, like you see on their pottery. Right. Obviously, they didn't have all the technology they had, but they had enough. They could make clear art. But it's a different style, so can we say that it's technically worse if that's just how they drew it? I guess they didn't have the knowledge that we do of things like perspective and depth. But... I
guess, yeah.
So yeah, again, we've come back to what we said earlier. Humans, we've acquired more knowledge, but does that mean we've gotten better? I don't know. Out of curiosity, where are you trying to go in the game?
Well, I'm following this yellow dot.
Oh, well, that's a good thing to do, I suppose.
I think the last time I played, I made a marker for where I was supposed to go, and I was like, follow that.
Yeah, usually a good way to go.
Yeah, so, I'm trying to remember how I get my crossbow, my bow out. I don't remember.
ZR, maybe? No.
Oh yeah, okay, there we go. Cool. It's badly damaged, but I don't care. I'm gonna shoot the...
Robin Hood.
It broke.
It broke. Congratulations.
Great.
Just like the minds of everyone who tries to do too much philosophy.
This is actually very true. Anyway, though, so yes, have we gotten better or have we just got more knowledge? And okay, the question is getting more knowledge not count as getting better?
I guess it depends on what they mean by getting better. Oh boy, here we go trying to again.
Because, like, Plato would say, like, being better would be getting closer to the good. That's what getting better is.
Okay.
But I don't think we've gotten any closer to the good because I don't even think anyone knows really what he meant. Well, okay.
It's debatable.
I think that might be a bit of an exaggeration. I think some people, like philosophers, do think that they know what he meant, or maybe I'm just too ignorant in my bachelor's degree.
Yeah. Well, I think. Yeah. But so what does it mean to get closer to the good? If we're going to assume Plato was right, which it's a big assumption to make at all, but for now, if we're going to go with a Platonic view of existence, what does it mean to get closer to the good?
To get closer to the good would be... I'm trying to remember, because like the forms are very hard to understand for like anybody. Like they're not very clear, and they're really dense. They're like graduate level philosophy. It's like when you start really learning about the forms.
So when
the
we
form
make our
of the
second
good-
channel, Graduate Philosophers Play Games, then we'll talk about it. But,
Yeah. So I think that the idea is that the good is the thing from which every other good thing comes from. It's like the epitome, like the ultimate. I don't know. There's a word for this. The quintessential good. Like it's this like the abstract standard that we think of when we say like, oh, this is good. We're saying like, oh, this is closer to the good than something else. It's like,
don't forget, just saying in game, you can log on to Ender by pressing ZL.
okay, well, I need to eat food. I'm going to die.
Yes.
And that would be bad. That would not be getting me closer to the form of the good.
It wouldn't.
That's a lot. That much.
So yeah. So
But, yeah, so that's what Plato would say. Plato would say, and I don't know, I wouldn't say that we've gotten really closer. As humanity as a whole, I think for sure it's fine to say, no, we haven't gotten closer to the form of the good.
yeah.
We've definitely
And again,
improved in, like we said, like knowledge, in adventure, and technology. But is it fair to say that is
It's
making us
equivalent
better?
to making us better. I think better at being I was going to say better at being human, but the problem is being human includes that's human nature, include like burning your enemies alive and all the nasty stuff people did and still do sometimes. So
I think that's. I think you could argue that that's not part of actual humanity. Well, okay, maybe that's true Scotsman fallacy.
yeah. So yeah, I when I raised this question and texted it to you, I wasn't really thinking about the definition of what does it mean to get better, but I guess we have to unpack that before we can continue this discussion, right? Like,
Yes.
we're not
We
gonna...
get to do your favorite thing, Noah. We get to sit and argue about what terms mean for like
boy.
20 minutes to figure out that we don't know what anything means.
Well, let's get to it. If we're gonna figure out I don't know what anything is, I want to do it sooner rather than later. So, yeah, becoming better.
Oh no! What? I was. Ouch.
You're dead.
Yeah, he like one hit me. Like, okay. Big boy. But yes.
Okay.
So what do you think you mean when you say getting better? Because remember, just because like it's the term that you're using in this instance does not mean that like that has to be the true meaning. It just has to be a workable term for us.
Of course. Well, those of you in the audience who are timing your stopwatch, stop now, because I think it would mean to get better ethically and
Oh no!
morally.
Yep, there we go. Back to ethics.
Yep, there we go. That was what, 10 minutes maybe?
Let's see. We've been going for about 13. Yeah, about 10 minutes. Yeah, it took us about 10 minutes.
Okay, all right. We're improving. Well, are we improving? Is it good and moral to not talk about good and morals? Okay, moving on. So yeah, if we say ethically and morality, maybe don't run at a horde of monsters.
Well, I figured I have the big sword, and like up until now, the big sword's been pretty good at just knocking out enemies. Like they aren't like tough. These guys are actually fighting back.
Yeah, well, so a couple of things. One, you can just hide from a distance and snipe them with bows and arrows. Another thing, I believe, so grab your sword and pull out your sword, and then like hold down the attack button.
Oh yeah. The thing is, like, I can do that, but it takes like time to charge up and like get enemies, and then it restarts.
Yeah. So.
And they will one punch me. So
I can't tell from this angle. Is this a one-handed or a two-handed sword you're using?
This is a two-handed sword.
Okay. Ah. Get him! Murder!
Dope.
I don't know.
Yeah, murder. Murder is a very. Okay. So yeah, what do you mean, Noah? What do you
So, yeah,
what do you mean?
Let's start out with the definition of have humanity become more moral and more ethical and more good natured over time? Since I think it is the goal of most religions and most views of the world that one should strive to become a better person as time goes on. You could extend that to a society should strive to become better, humanity should strive to become better. So let's start with that. So has humanity become more good, more ethical, moral over time? And I would say no, definitely not.
No, I think that we would like to think we have, but really that we don't have much evidence to back that up.
Yeah,
like you might say, oh, we don't, burn towns to the ground and commit atrocities and conquer people, but I mean, we still do some pretty shady stuff.
Yeah, no, and you don't need to look that far back in history. I'm thinking World War II, for example, to see, humanity arguably is no better and arguably even worse than we have been in the past, given circumstances that don't constrain you to being good. So yeah, I think we can say. Well, I think we're in agreement on this. So just to make it interesting, let's try to think of some counter arguments. What arguments are there that humanity has become more ethical? Because I agree, we don't typically pillage other nations. Usually.
Okay, maybe not the same way we used to.
Yeah, as soon as I said that, I was realizing, well, okay, we don't. Generally, we don't keep slaves anymore.
Yes, as Western society has advanced and everything, we generally say that slavery is a no-no.
Yes, we have. Whereas it was extremely common in the ancient world and even the not so ancient world. Whereas going back up to, I don't know, maybe I suppose it depends on which part of the world you're in. But regardless, yeah. So in the past, slavery was very common. Now it's not. Improvement. Yay. But,
yeah, we finally decided that owning people is not okay.
Yeah.
Progress.
But on the other hand, you could say, for example,
dude.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, back in the olden days, in some places there was a high value on hospitality. If you took someone into your house and protected them, or if you took someone into your house and then failed to protect them, that was enormously shameful. Whereas now, if you take someone into your house and don't protect them, well, I don't know. So we've kind of regressed in that sense.
We've kind of gone to more to like a Am I My Brother's Keeper kind of.
Yeah. Which. And then there's other things, like, for example, we don't do slavery, but, we do have the ability to kill people in much larger quantities than they were able to back in the olden days.
And pretty quickly, too.
Yeah, pretty quickly. Guns and bombs and all that. I don't want to say fun stuff, all that kind of thing.
No, I know we're trying to get canceled, but maybe, just maybe, we should wait.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think things have definitely changed, but have they changed for the strictly better? Okay, there we go. That's actually a distinction we should make. I don't know. We almost certainly can say humanity hasn't strictly improved. Like, we can't say there have been only improvements and no regressions. But can we say humanity has net improvement? So, do the improvements outweigh the failures?
Okay, this guy. Let's see. Have we really? I don't think so. I think that when we consider like the past and we think about people like from ancient times, we like to think of them as backward savages, and there's like a ton of evidence like counter to that, saying that no, actually, they were really smart. They knew what was going on. They were just different than us.
So far, the score is Rock Shooting Octopus 3, Link 0.
Okay, well, in my defense, this is a lot harder than it looks.
Uh-huh. You don't have to. Oh, well, now he's dead.
I don't have to. I did it for me.
Cruelty. Yes, that's been part of humanity ever since the beginning. So, yeah, no, I don't know if that's really improved. Yeah. But now we're cruel to animals and video games as opposed to...
I'm gonna drown, aren't I?
Animals and people. I think you are.
I forgot that that's how that works.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the stuff. That's all I care about. Haha.
Yeah, actually, drowning's quite friendly in this game. For the audience who may not have played, when you drown, you typically don't straight up die. You just respawn back at the last shore you were at with, I think, 1 fewer heart. Is that right?
Something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. So you don't. It's not a game over when you drown,
Which is nice.
Which is nice. So, all right. I was while we were on that little gaming tangent, I was thinking maybe it's fair to say humanity has gotten net better in the big stuff. Like I was saying, for example, yes, humans, we still do wars and commit atrocities, but maybe fewer atrocities, or we don't do slavery as regularly, or what else? Let me think of an example of what else. Another example of what I'm trying to articulate here. For example, in older worlds, it was common practice to conquer other nations and force them to either join you or give you all their stuff, or everyone dies, which we generally frown upon that.
I like how we have to caveat that by saying generally.
Generally, but that's the thing, isn't it? Like, yes, the United States of America. Now. Oh, dang, what's that?
That is not what I wanted to do.
The United States of America doesn't do that, maybe, but if you look at some of the what you might call the smaller, more brutish or more brutal dictatorships or countries around the world, they still do that. It's just they don't have as much power to do so. So really, I guess even in that, it seems the evidence shows that if there's no one stopping them, or if there's no one stopping them, humanity and nations and societies will still commit atrocities. It's just at the moment, the balance of power has shifted where the strongest nations and the strongest societies have reached the point where they experience that as opposed to participating in that. Like compare now where arguably the strongest nation in the world is the United States, whereas back in
way to have a big ego, Noah.
Okay, militarily at least. Whereas I'm thinking back, Rome comes to mind, where Rome was the strongest nation, and their national policy was take over everyone and conquer everyone, and no one stopped them because they were the strongest. Whereas now we still have debates in national politics that I'm not going to get into about how much America should intervene, but the point is there that the United States and
doesn't
and
get involved nearly as much as it could.
Yeah, we don't regularly march up to foreign countries.
We haven't taken over Mexico yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's perfect way to put it. We haven't taken over Mexico yet, whereas Rome in our situation would have done so like
as soon as it was able.
As soon as it was able. I mean, but then again, I feel like I've said then again a lot in this episode. If you go back, even in United States history, even 150 years ago or so, thereabouts, we annexed quite a lot of Texas from Mexico, and it wasn't really it wasn't exactly voluntary on their part. It was more, we won a war, and then we took it. And California as well. So,
I think the difference is that when we took it, we didn't say, "Hey, you have to stay here and live with like us ruling you now." We were more like, "You can go if you want, but like this is ours now. Get out."
Is that really that much better? I don't know.
Than killing everyone or like enslaving them? I would think so. Like I think the political way we did it much better.
I mean, sure. But yeah, again, this coming back to the point of really given the opportunity, we're basically doing the same thing they were doing back in Rome. So maybe we're a little bit nicer about it, but I mean, maybe not.
I mean, isn't being nicer or doing a bad thing better than being not nice?
I guess. So sure. All right, sure. So that's our first conclusion we can come to. Humans as a whole, instead of committing atrocities and laughing about it, we commit atrocities and then apologize. And then
we're like, sorry, bro. I'm sorry I had to decapitate you.
Sorry I had to decapitate you. Sorry I killed all your family. We're doing it for a good reason.
It was just business.
It's
Nothing
just business. Nothing personal. And is that really better? I'll leave that to you to decide, audience.
Well, I thought that was the whole point of this talk.
So, yeah, I think on a large scale we can say maybe we're a little bit... Ooh, shrine. Very fun. Wasn't looking at the screen, but yes. On a large scale, humanity, maybe we're a little better, but not a ton better.
Yes.
I think we can say that at this point. So,
from an ethical, moral standpoint, we haven't improved too much. Probably a little bit, but really not that much. Yeah. And the ones that have are really like aren't a big faction, because like we say like the United States is the biggest, but like look at China. China has more people.
Yes.
And so really the fact that the United States might have improved. Has China improved as much, or are they bringing down the average?
Yeah, but again, I think there's something we should stop here. There's a distinction to make. We're talking about China or the United States, which are societies. Let's say
we do live in societies.
We do live in a society, but I think that's different from saying humanity as a whole, which I don't know. I suppose if you could say if we say humanity is made out of X societies and every single one of X societies has improved, you could say humanity has improved, but...
Well, I think it's good just as a way of like referencing certain parts of humanity. Humanity as a whole, as in the people that live on Earth. We already divide ourselves into sections, and that just having it divided just makes it easier to talk about us as individuals, or like us as a whole.
Agreed. Yeah,
so
it does.
I think that, like while certain countries have gotten better, I think other countries really haven't improved as much as like we're thinking like the United States has. And so it's like, well, sure, like we've gotten better slightly, but like I don't think other places have actually improved as much as we have.
And I think the key part of this is the fact that it's not universal, that it's the fact of one society has maybe gotten better but others haven't. That indicates that the humans that make up the society haven't really changed. Because thought experiment time, so let's say World War VII breaks out, the United States is no more, and so let's say the United States disappears, but obviously it's a big country, there's lots of people, there's still, all their biological descendants are still pervading the world. Are we going to say those biological descendants of however many generations are still going to be better in the same sense? Probably not, right? Because it's more of a function of they're part of a society that is maybe better, but the people themselves, if placed in a different society or a different context, likely would follow that society and context, right?
Okay, I see what you mean. So, like, if I was born in another place, I would act like when in Rome, kind of.
Yeah, exactly. My point I'm trying to make is saying the United States, or American society, let's say Western. Yeah, let's say
okay.
Western. Saying Western civilization has improved, that's more a factor of that. If Western civilization were to pass away, then the humans in it, would the humans in it be any better? Or the humans who used to be in it, or their descendants. I'm not articulating this very well.
I think I get what you're saying. So if like Western civilization collapsed, would our kids be similar to us now, or would they be exactly like they were before?
Yeah, would they revert back? Advanced? Okay, there we go. That's a perfect way of thinking it. The big war comes. Technology has been ruined. Societies have crumbled. Humanity has regressed technologically back to a Stone Age level. So would they socially and intellectually, or not intellectually, socially and ethically revert back to a Stone Age level? I think the answer is probably yeah.
I think so. I think that we would be more driven by our like evolutionary biological impulses,
right,
and less by our intellectual or like our higher level thinking that we like to pride ourselves on so much. Because at the end of the day, we'd be like, I need to eat food, and that means
to eat food, and that small person over there has lots of food. I am big person. The answer seems obvious.
Exactly. I think that's exactly where we would end up.
So yeah, Yeah, and I think I think we're actually reverted. If we dial it back down to, rather than talking about nations and societies, we talk about individuals, or the average individual, let's say. I think it's fair to say the average individual lies and cheats and commits adultery and all the other good sins just as much as they did back in the dawn of recorded history. Maybe the crimes are different. Like, I don't think the Romans were doing cyberbullying, but the principles are still the same.
Yeah. I could see that being true. That.
So.
No, I think I was trying to.
What I was going to say is, I think talked about ethically. So biologically, we said at the beginning, humans have changed. Ethically and morally, I think we can say societies individually have gotten better, but humanity and the average human really hasn't changed. So that's the biological perspective. That's the ethical perspective. What else? How else could we continue it? I mean, we already established knowledge, and in terms of knowledge and technology, 1,000%, we have grown dramatically over the past several thousand years. I don't think there's any debate about that. What other ways are there to view this question?
How else?
How else, indeed?
I don't know if there are other ways. Let me think. So, we've said ethically. We said intellectually, biologically. Oh, that's a big dude. Those are big dudes.
Big indeed.
I don't think I have any arrows, so I'm gonna.
If this dude saw Link and decided to take his food, would Link be able to stop him?
I don't think Link will be able to stop him. You know what? I'm gonna. Link's gonna try though. We're gonna do the bomb. We're gonna try it.
You know the bombs don't actually do very much damage, right?
Okay, nope.
Run
away! Oh
right.
shoot, he's chasing me now. Oh, where am I? No! What? Run away!
This seems about right.
No!
Oh, you dodged him. Oh, okay, all right.
Link. Nope.
You know you can fast travel out of here, right?
Oh, can I if I'm in the middle of conflict? That seems like a cheaper way out. Just gonna bippity boppity boop over here.
Yep.
No, oh, I died.
Oh.
Wait.
Oh, no,
what?
you didn't. See? Oh, you're traveling. I think you made it. Okay.
All right. Watch me learn.
Right.
No, I want to see it. So watch. I'm gonna land, and then I'm gonna die.
That would be funny.
Let's see. So intellectually, I guess arguably you could argue spiritually, have we gotten better? And then that would
That's an
just
interesting question.
that would just depend on your. Oh, look at that! A quarter of a heart. Take that.
Hey.
I think that would just depend on your religion at that point, right?
Yeah,
Or,
it
no,
would.
or is there a way? Or is there a way we could look at this and be like, no, objectively, we have gotten like more religious. I think that actually you could do that, but I think that as a
Maybe.
society, as societies, we have gotten less religious.
Yeah, less religious and less spiritual over time. So, if you want to make the assumption that more spiritual equals improving, then humanity has declined over the years. Although, again, I think that's more Western civilization. Many other societies that still exist are still quite religious. I think we're in the West. We're in America. We tend to
Link,
see. Ooh, this is always fun.
be on your guard.
And Ganon's mad at me.
Ganon's power
He is.
grows. It rises to its peak under the hour of the blood moon.
I legit thought when I got in here that I would. Oh, what? No.
Aimless spirits of monsters
Oh yeah,
slain.
did I not mention when I first showed you this game? Every now and then,
Return
the
to
monsters
flesh.
just all respawn. Hope you weren't in the middle of fighting when that happens.
Please be careful.
What? No, I'm gonna die. I don't have the weapons to fight these guys off.
Oh no, that was just showing all around Hyrule they're respawning.
Oh, I legit thought like outside this very building there was gonna be like an army waiting for me.
No. That just means when that thing happens, the Blood Moon, all the monsters you've killed just respawn. So you can't ever clear the map of monsters. They'll just come back
see.
eventually.
Huh. I don't think this is beneficial to me right now.
So yeah, if you want to make, we're talking about spiritual. If you want to make the
and
perspective, spiritually, if humanity's probably become less spiritual. Although again, I think that might be more a product of our society is less spiritual. Like if you took our descendants and put them in primitive rock society, or put them in primitive rock Stone Age context, where spiritualism is more common, I think humans would be equally spiritual. So yeah, I don't think that's really changed much. Our society, again, societies have changed. The humans in them, I don't think really have.
I think you like the idea that we haven't changed, Noah. It seems like you are. You're very big on this idea.
I mean, I'm going through these options, and that's the conclusion I'm coming to. If you disagree, tell me.
No, I mean, I if you remember, I started off saying that I think we haven't changed. We're the same human beings that we've always been.
Yeah.
And we just like to look back on the past and be like, oh, look at these morons. They were
Hindsight
dumb.
is 20/20, as they say.
Well, I'm thinking that it's not 2020. It's bias. Like we like to assume that we're better simply because we think, oh, we aren't backward savages, but they weren't backward savages either. That's just how we paint them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Ooh,
good point.
What? This is just a magic pinwheel that doesn't do anything?
Who's that?
I don't know.
I think. Okay. Well, I think if you had a fan, maybe you could.
Ooh, I see.
Yeah. Yeah. And then religion, or religions. I think you covered it. It depends on your religion. If your religion is Jesus came 2,000 years ago, then that was 2,000 years ago, and that's that. If your religion is Buddha was enlightened. When was that? I don't remember.
No idea.
Whatever that was, and so yeah, I think the point stands that if you're trying to look at it from a religious perspective, it depends on your religion, but yeah, typically, yeah, it would depend on it. So I don't think you can make any broad, sweeping
Objective claims about
that. Yeah. Are there any other ways you can? I think we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we kind of shifted away before. Art. Like, has art gotten? Well, then this brings up the question of what makes art good.
Okay, which I know you like.
It is a question I like, but I think that deserves its own topic. So
it does, but I think we can touch on it a little bit.
Okay, sure.
So we could say like, okay, what makes art good? And we can look at some different ways. So like, I think we've definitely made developments in art. So the art in that sense, like pointism, I think is what it's called, that Picasso made. Well, that wasn't around during the French Renaissance.
Yeah,
the French Revolution. Like that wasn't the thing.
Yeah, even things like perspective in art, where if you want to make something appear distant, you paint it smaller. That wasn't a thing in, say, medieval art.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've definitely, again, increased knowledge about art. No doubt about that. But does that make the art gooder? I'm using that intentionally because we're talking about good art. So
yeah. I think it does, because I think that the one of the goals of art is to just convey emotion or the human experience in some way, and so finding more ways to do that makes the art better.
Okay.
That's why abstract art can be why it can be considered good, because for some people, because like the abstractness connects with you in a way that like realism doesn't.
Saying you have more tools doesn't necessarily make the final product better. It just means you have more tools.
No, but it means that you can make better things. If you give me power tools, I will make a better house out of you than if you gave me no power tools.
True. Okay.
Well, I guess actually, hold on. I don't know. Those pyramids look pretty dope, bro.
They do.
But they're really simple. Yeah. So I mean, even they're objectively like, no, you. The reason that we can make so many things that we have now that are so good is because we have the knowledge and the technology that makes those jobs easier to accomplish quicker. So like, we can make things better because we have improved our knowledge. So I think we have improved. I think the increase in knowledge so far we've been discrediting more than we should have.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I think that the way the way that humanity has really improved is just by increasing knowledge, and that in turn has improved various other areas of our lives in some in good ways, some in not so good ways. For instance, like
Oh, I'm sorry. I just thought of another category we could talk about. I was thinking quality of life in both physical requirements and mental health. So both physical and mental health and prosperity.
okay, well, in that case, I say there's a mix to be had here, because the world we live in today has a very high mental demand, like mental strain is very big. That's why we have like lots of mental illnesses and things like that. Like that's very common nowadays. Back in the days, like early humanity, it wasn't mentally very straining. You know, you got up, you hunted, and like you came home, you had like dinner, and you like told stories with your family, and then you went to bed, and then you like rinse and repeat.
Yeah,
like that was it.
And then occasionally, occasionally, when the Marauders came in, you fought them and either died or fought them off.
So,
I see what you're saying.
mentally very easily. However, physically, our jobs have gotten a lot easier. We don't have to like scavenge for food now. We can kind of just go to the supermarket and be like, I want a half a cow, please, and you don't have to do any of the work of getting half a cow.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that has gotten easier, and I think that we've the trade-off is not even. Like we have definitely, like the amount of mental strain that we've had does not equal like the ease that we've gotten from physical work. Like we've started to tip the other way, where it's like there was a time when it would have been a perfect balance of like physical labor for intellectual strain, and now we've surpassed that, and it's become, we're starting to have negative mental work, and we're becoming physically lazy.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. I think I see what you're saying. And then I think a good way to sum up what you're saying is, are people happier than they were 3, 4, 5,000 years ago?
I think it depends on where you go.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, in the United States, in like Western society, we aren't happier than people that are in like third world countries or like underdeveloped countries. Like they've done like surveys, and like people like in like, places that like have lots of like really serious like concerns, they aren't like depressed as much as like Americans say they are, or say they are not as depressed as Americans say that Americans are.
Right. So, but again, this is that we're talking about. Those are societal differences we're talking about. If you look at humanity as a whole, how
do you measure happiness?
How do you measure happiness, especially happiness of people who've been dead for thousands of years? Question.
I think you would have to assume that like the ease of your life will. No, because like I said, like we aren't happier.
Yeah, because, and I think there's ease of life is not necessarily a thing. Like there's definitely something to be said that if you have nothing to do, having nothing to do with no work is, for many people, it's not fulfilling, and you'll feel, I don't know, restless, I suppose is a way to put it.
Okay.
Yeah, and many people throughout history have found great satisfaction in living a simple life of labor. So, saying ease of life is a possible measurement, but I don't think it's very accurate.
I can concede that.
But you're right. How do we measure the happiness of anyone, especially if they're not present? What do the philosophers say about this? I don't know off the top of my head.
What is happiness? What is
how to
happiness?
measure it?
Yes, because I don't think it's being content. Definitely not. It's not content. Ooh, prime meat.
Yum.
Yeah. So I don't think it's being content. I don't think that's what happiness is. Ironically, I don't think this is something that Plato would say is like, oh, you just get closer to the form of the good. That's not what happiness is either.
Right.
I feel like it would be things that we say like having joy. That is what happiness is. That good feeling you get in your stomach when, like, I don't know, you find out that you get prime meat instead of just like goat meat. That's
Okay.
joy.
All right. So do people these days have more of that than they did back in the olden days?
I don't know. There was a lot of religion out there that like made people really hate themselves. So I feel like you could say, yes, we're happy.
Yeah. Although again, I think it's kind of hard to measure that of somebody who's dead and has been dead for a long time. Because
Well, I think it'd be impossible to like know for an individual, but I think as like in general, we know that if you have low self-esteem, you're probably not happy. And if
Yeah, that's
you
fair.
and
That's
doing XYZ promotes having low self-esteem. So like, I don't know, being told like by Catholics that you should like beat yourself to purge away sin, probably gonna lower your self-esteem a little bit. That's a reasonable.
No,
Like
I
assumption.
agree.
So I think you could say that we might be happier, or there was definitely a time very recently that we were happier. I feel like as a society now, I know you're not big on the society thing. Oh hey, I got a fan. I got a fan. Where's the pinwheel?
That was
Find the
wild
pinwheel.
ways away.
I found one. I found another one. I think over here. So.
Huh.
But yes, I think that as in some societies, like doing things like this, like having a video game, is a good way to bring that kind of joy that I said. But I think that
Yeah.
also we're finding that like a lack of meaning, and we find having meaning more valuable.
Yeah, I agree. Because I know there are plenty of people out there who play video games quite often, but struggle to find meaning in that and also their lives in general. So, but again, that's more of a societal American problem than it is a humanity problem. But you know, it's still worth talking about. But that's not exactly what I was thinking of when I first asked you this question. But you know, still interesting to talk about. And isn't that what we're here for?
Yes, we're here for interesting. I thought we were here for that way you'd finally get me to play this game.
I mean,
Are you serious? Is that gonna do anything?
maybe go on the other side of it. I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Okay,
Doesn't look like it.
Wow. I'm so psyched.
Well, that's a little sad.
Yeah. Ouch. Okay.
Okay.
Like finding food.
I think we've more or less covered what we
What we set out to
say about
cover?
this. Yeah. So can we sum up if the big question is, has humanity gotten better over time? The answer is maybe in some ways, but probably not in a lot of ways.
And not, I would say, not in a significant amount. Like it's not,
Yes.
it's not like enough to be like, oh, we're better. It's like, no, we're pretty much the same. Like we just had a change in scenery.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what I was talking about with societies. American society is very different from ancient Greek societies, but are people in it more ethical, happier, some of the other. We're more knowledgeable, perhaps, but yeah, are the people in our society more ethical and happier than they were back then? Maybe, probably not, but maybe not. I don't know. So yeah, I think that's a good way we can talk about what we've done. Yeah.
All right. Well,
Okay.
I didn't complete a shrine today. I got
That's
into
okay.
one, but I didn't. I think I needed some other tools to do it. So
I
we'll
don't
stop
think
here.
you did. You can complete all the shrines with the tools you have now.
Oh, they're like, okay. Well, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll stop here. Maybe you'll fix it. Do it next time. Maybe not.
Yeah.
All right. And yeah, with that, thank you so much for watching. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. If you have any ideas on if humanity has improved or not, please let us know in the comments. We are always fascinated to hear what people think about what we say.
Right, and try and be better, whatever that means.
Yeah, be better. I don't know what it means, but do it.
Exactly.
Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.